Have you ever wondered what really happens when you close your eyes at night? Not just physical sleep, rest for the body, but the other dimension that opens up when waking consciousness gives way to the domain of the unconscious? It's a realm of profound mystery, a land where the laws of reality seem to bend and where inner landscapes become as vivid as anything we experience while awake. For most, sleep is a time of rest, a necessary pause to recharge. But for a select few, for extraordinary minds who transcended the limitations of ordinary perception, sleep was a doorway to a universe of ideas, to the very fabric of existence, a place where inspiration flowed in torrents and where the secrets of the cosmos were whispered in the soul's ear. Imagine a mind so sharp, so connected to the hidden currents of energy that shape our world, that the very experience of sleep became a tool to unravel the enigmas that eluded the cold logic of the day. Nikola Tesla, a name synonymous with genius and innovation, is often remembered for his revolutionary inventions, his glimpses of an electrically powered future, and his legendary rivalry with Thomas Edison. We speak of resonant coils, alternating current wireless power transmission, marvels that shaped the 20th century and continue to influence our present. But behind the sparks and intricate diagrams, there was a facet of Tesla that remained more enigmatic, more shrouded in shadow: his relationship with sleep and his profound belief that, during this state of apparent inactivity, the soul accessed a reservoir of unfathomable knowledge. He saw sleep not as a mere interruption of consciousness, but as an expansion of it, a portal to a plane of existence where creativity and understanding reach their highest peaks. It was in this state that he claimed to receive his most brilliant ideas, where he envisioned the future of technology, and where he unraveled the fundamental principles of the universe. This is not a cursory dive into Tesla's achievements, nor a standard biography. It is an exploration of the inner landscape of a genius, focusing specifically on how he utilized the sleep state not only to rest, but to create, to innovate, and to transcend the boundaries of conventional wisdom. We will venture into the depths of his mind during sleep, examining the evidence and speculation about how this practice, so personal and peculiar, became one of the pillars of his incomparable work. The guiding question is simple yet profound. What did Tesla see in sleep that allowed him to conceive the unimaginable? What were the secrets he unlocked in the stillness of the night, when the outside world fell silent and his own consciousness expanded beyond the limits of day? Prepare for a journey that transcends known science, exploring the intersection of mind, sleep, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge, and how Tesla's soul, in its most vulnerable and receptive moments, seemed to be the architect of his greatest discoveries. This is an invitation to look at sleep not just as a biological mystery, but as a potential field of discovery for the human mind, especially for those who dare to dream bigger and see further. Tesla's fascination with sleep was intrinsically linked to his understanding of energy and vibration. He believed the universe was a vast symphony of frequencies, and that the human mind, especially in its most receptive state, could attune itself to these cosmic harmonies. During the day, the sensory cacophony of the waking world, the practical demands of invention and social interaction obscured this subtle capacity. However, in the silence of sleep, Tesla's mind could perceptually strip away these interferences. Imagine an old-fashioned radio station, its rotating antenna searching for faint signals amid static noise. Tesla saw his waking state as this rotating antenna, bombarded by interference. Sleep, on the other hand, allowed the antenna to quiet, tuning itself with almost ethereal precision to purer, deeper frequencies. He not only saw inventions in his dreams, but also felt the resonance of the principles that underpinned them. It was as if when he fell asleep he was immersed in an ocean of pure information, where physical laws were not rigidly defined but fluid and interconnected. This particular perception of sleep as a state of heightened sensory and mental receptivity allowed Tesla to develop an almost ritualistic technique to maximize its benefits. He was known for imposing a strict sleep schedule on himself. But what is most intriguing is his alleged practice of sleeping just enough to keep his mental faculties sharp, but not so much that he lost touch with this productive dream dimension. Accounts from his time suggest that he would often sit up in bed after a brief period of sleep, frantically jotting down ideas that he claimed had been revealed to him in transitional moments. These moments, he believed, were crucial. It was neither deep recurrent sleep nor complete wakefulness, but the tenuous border between them. It was as if he had learned to soar in this twilight state of consciousness, where images and concepts began to form but still maintained a striking visual and logical clarity. For Tesla, this ability was not just a personal gift but a manifestation of a broader human potential. He saw the sleeping human mind as a powerful receiver, capable of capturing information beyond ordinary sensory perception. He compared the mind in its ideal state to a musical instrument tuned to perfection, capable of producing and hearing the subtlest harmonies of the universe. Electricity, his life's passion, was for him the most tangible manifestation of these universal energies. Thus, his exploration of sleep was, in essence, an exploration of a form of mental and spiritual energy, a search to understand how the mind, by detaching itself from the limitations of the physical body and daytime perception, could access deeper and more fundamental knowledge. It was a form of communication, not with external entities in the supernatural sense, but with the very laws and structures that governed reality. Consequently, his approach to developing new technologies was significantly different from that of his contemporaries. While others relied on methodical experimentation and trial and error, Tesla often claimed to have seen the complete solution in his mind before he even began building. He attributed this preconceived view largely to the epiphanies that emerged during his periods of strategic rest. Now consider how this perspective might apply to you when faced with a complex problem, rather than endlessly wrestling with it in a state of stress and fatigue. Perhaps there is value in allowing your mind to consciously rest, not just by shutting down, but by consciously allowing ideas to form in the background, in a more receptive state. The secret wasn't dreaming of dragons or fantastical landscapes, but cultivating a mental state that allowed for the clear visualization of abstract ideas and scientific principles. It was a kind of guided introspection, where the barriers between the conscious and unconscious became more permeable, allowing the creative flow to manifest in coherent and useful forms. He wasn't merely dreaming. He was actively exploring a realm of possibilities, a cosmic library accessible through the key of strategic sleep and an extraordinarily attuned mind. It was a living demonstration that knowledge can come not only from study and logic, but also from a deep dive into the very nature of consciousness and its connection to the vibrational universe. The key to Tesla's genius during sleep lay in his remarkable capacity for eidetic visualization, an ability to create and manipulate mental images with extraordinary clarity and detail. He didn't just see inventions, he built them mentally piece by piece, observing their operation in action, testing their tolerances and refining his designs with almost architectural precision. Imagine an engineer designing a complex building. Instead of scribbling on paper, Tesla used the screen of his mind. He could be inside the machine, feeling the vibrations, observing the flow of energy, even identifying potential failures before they physically manifested. This ability, amplified by the unique receptivity of the sleep state, transformed his dreams into mental prototyping laboratories. He could simulate complex and expensive experiments without spending a single cent or risking a single screw. This form of mental engineering allowed him to pursue development paths that would have been impractical in the material world. He could test different configurations, materials, and principles in a matter of moments, unconstrained by time, cost, or physical availability. For example, when designing his wireless power transmission systems, he didn't need to build dozens of prototype Tesla coils. Instead, he could visualize different wire arrangements, different resonant frequencies, and mentally observe how the energy behaved, how the waves propagated, and where losses occurred. It was an ultra-advanced form of simulation, executed by the architecture of the mind itself in its purest, most unencumbered state. Furthermore, Tesla used this state for nonlinear thought experiments. While daytime logic guides us along an A to B to C path, sleep in his perception allowed for a leap, a direct intuition. He could jump to the conclusion, to the final solution, and then in his waking life work backward to understand the intermediate steps that would get him there. This wasn't mysticism. It was a recognition of the subconscious mind's ability to process information in ways that the conscious mind, trapped in linearity, cannot. Think of a mathematician who, faced with a complex problem, suddenly has an insight into the solution, and only then must rigorously prove it correct. Tesla applied a similar principle to engineering and physics. This mastery of eidetic visualization especially in the context of sleep, also reveals a deeper facet of his theory that everything in the universe is vibration and energy. He didn't just think in terms of physics, but in terms of resonances and frequencies. When he saw an invention, he not only saw its form and function, but also felt its vibrational signature. And in sleep, this sensitivity was heightened. He could tune his mind to specific frequencies, like a musician tunes their instrument to a particular note. And in doing so, he could perceive how these frequencies interacted, how they could be manipulated, and how they could influence the world around him. Now, consider how this understanding of eidetic visualization in sleep can inspire us in our own lives. When you face a creative challenge, whether it's writing a poem, designing new software, or finding a solution to a practical problem at home, instead of just focusing on the end result, try to imagine the process. Give yourself permission to play with the ideas in your mind, visualizing different approaches, different outcomes. And when sleep comes, instead of just resting, try gently directing your attention to the problem, allowing your mind to work in the background, as Tesla's did. It's not about forcing, but about creating a receptive space where your own soul can see beyond the obvious, searching for innovative solutions and unexpected insights, just as Tesla unlocked the secrets of electricity in the depths of his strategic dreams. Beyond visualization, Tesla possessed an extraordinary ability to synthesize fragmented information into a cohesive whole, a process that intensified during sleep. His mind not only received glimpses, but was able to connect the dots with astonishing speed and efficiency. While the waking mind can get lost in details or overly linear analytical approaches, the dream state for Tesla functioned as a powerful engine of synthesis. He described this as the ability to see the underlying structure of a problem or idea, identifying the hidden connections that escaped superficial observation. Imagine a skilled weaver who, upon looking at a pile of tangled threads, can instantly discern the pattern they will form when woven correctly. Tesla operated on a similar level with abstract concepts. This ability to synthesize was fundamental to his innovation in a field as complex as electrical engineering. He wasn't just developing a component, he was designing entire systems, and in his sleep this holistic vision manifested itself clearly. He could, for example, visualize a complete power generation system, from the turbine powered by a renewable source to the transmission of that energy over long distances without losses, and even the devices that would utilize it, all harmoniously interconnected. It wasn't a collection of isolated ideas, but a complete mental architecture, where each part fit perfectly with the other, driven by the principles of resonance and frequency he had studied so deeply. Furthermore, Tesla used sleep to validate and refine his theoretical principles. Even before dedicating himself to practical engineering, he believed that the fundamental laws of the universe were, in a sense, accessible in a state of expanded consciousness, and that sleep was the ideal gateway for this exploration. He didn't just dream about machines, he dreamed about the principles that made them possible. Imagine a physicist who, instead of spending years on complex calculations, has a profound insight into a new fundamental law during sleep, and then upon waking, dedicates himself to mathematically proving this discovery. Tesla operated similarly with engineering. He could feel the truth of a theory through its manifestation in dream visions, and this gave him immense confidence to proceed with its materialization. This capacity for internal validation, gained in the sleep state, allowed him to avoid dead ends and focus his efforts on the most promising approaches. Instead of spending months or years on a line of research that would eventually prove fruitless, Tesla could, through his nocturnal mental experiments, discard theories or configurations that did not resonate with the deeper principles he perceived. It is as if he had an infallible nose for scientific truth, sharpened by the thresholds of sleep. Even more remarkable was his ability to anticipate problems and find proactive solutions mentally, even while asleep. He not only saw the ideal functioning of an invention, but also the potential flaws, stress points, and inefficiencies that might arise in its practical implementation. And crucially, he envisioned solutions to these problems. For example, when designing high-voltage systems, he could foresee challenges related to insulation, heat dissipation, or safety. And in his sleep states, he could envision innovative methods to overcome these barriers, whether through new materials, improved circuit configurations, or even entirely new control principles. This predictive and resolute approach to sleep is a testament to the depth of his understanding. He wasn't simply designing. He was anticipating and mitigating risks in an integrated manner. Think of a military strategist who not only plans an attack, but also anticipates the enemy's potential counteroffensives and develops contingency plans. Tesla applied similar reasoning to engineering, but utilized the vast simulation and prediction capabilities of the sleeping state of mind. Now consider how this capacity for synthesis and anticipation, when cultivated in your own mind during periods of strategic rest, can transform the way you approach your own challenges, allowing you to not only solve problems but also prevent them before they even arise, envisioning a more efficient and robust path forward. As we follow this path, we realize that the facets of Tesla's mind examined during his night's rest are not isolated events, but rather interwoven threads of an intricate tapestry. The singularity of his perception, the way he decoded the whispers of the universe in a state of stillness, suggests a mental architecture operating on a distinct plane. It is as if by closing his eyes he did not deviate from reality, but rather accessed a more fundamental layer of it, where the principles governing the cosmos manifested themselves with stunning clarity. The very essence of his discoveries seems to emanate from this profound connection, this ability to tune into a symphony of information that remains, for most, inaudible. The journey we have undertaken thus far shows us a man who not only dreamed, but who, through his dreams, unraveled the hidden language of existence. Reflecting on this journey thus far, what emerges is a convergence of ideas that transcend mere technical genius. The way the barriers between the conscious and unconscious seem to dissolve in his dream experience, allowing for an unprecedented creative flow, invites us to rethink the nature of creativity and discovery itself. It's not just intelligence or accumulated knowledge, but a form of perception that expands beyond the limits of what is tangible and measurable in the waking state. His approach suggests that the silence of the night is not a vacuum, but a space rich in potential, a reservoir of insights waiting to be accessed by those who know how to tune their minds. The complexities he unraveled seem to be distilled to their purest essence during these periods, as if Tesla's own soul found its way to universal truth in the stillness of sleep. As we near the conclusion of this exploration, it becomes clear that Tesla's story in sleep is more than an anecdote about an eccentric genius. It is an invitation to contemplate the unexplored realms of the human mind. The loose ends we have explored converge on a central point, an emerging understanding of how receptivity, synthesis, and visualization can intertwine in extraordinary ways. This convergence illuminates a dormant potential, an ability to access a deeper level of understanding and creativity that resides within each of us. Tesla's wisdom, revealed in the depths of his dream states, echoes as a call for us to also seek to understand the mysteries of our own consciousness and the vast vistas that open up when we allow ourselves to delve into its deeper realms, subtly guiding us to a new perspective on our own potential. Nikola Tesla's journey through the depths of sleep reveals that rest is not a mere interlude, but a portal, a gateway to a dimension where the soul, freed from the shackles of everyday perception, can dance with the fundamental principles of the universe. Tesla, with his extraordinary mind, not only envisioned inventions but also felt the resonance of cosmic laws, translating subtle vibrations into technological revolutions. He teaches us that true genius may reside not in constant activity, but in the ability to be still and, in this receptive silence, allow intuition and understanding to flow unimpeded. The clarity he found in the transitions between wakefulness and sleep, that tenuous border where logic bends to vision, was not magic, but an innate mastery of the plasticity of consciousness. What his soul saw in the depths of this sleep were not mere images, but the very fabric of reality, unfolded in a limitless mental laboratory. He manipulated ideas like threads of energy, interweaving complex concepts with the precision of a cosmic architect. This ability for synthesis and eidetic visualization, amplified by the stillness of the night, allowed him to transcend physical and temporal limitations, anticipating not only functioning, but also challenges and their solutions. Tesla offers us a transformative perspective. Sleep is not a time of cessation, but of silent expansion, an invitation for each of us to learn to listen to the whispers of the cosmos that manifest when the outside world falls silent. The ability to see the whole, to understand hidden connections, to anticipate the future. All this was within his reach because he dared to dive into the deep waters of his own sleeping mind. The lesson that resonates is clear. The deepest innovation and the most authentic understanding can emerge from realms we habitually neglect. Tesla's secret, far from being inaccessible, is a reminder of the vast potential that lies dormant within each of us. It is an invitation to cultivate stillness, to allow ourselves moments of genuine receptivity, where the answers we seek can reveal themselves not through ceaseless effort, but through serene surrender. True practice begins now as we close our eyes, not to escape the world, but to encounter it in its purest and most essential form, learning from the legacy of a man who saw the future in the deep darkness of his dreams.